So as we prepare for meditation, let's make that decision. Right here and right now. I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath and decide right now that you are the embodiment of love. Sometimes we get so caught up in our physical bodies, we forget that we are indeed love. The presence of God is in us, as us, all the time. So as you go within, just hollow out inside your body anything that is physical. So leave that behind for a moment. Make room for the awareness of the great I am in you, as you. Feel that energy circulating throughout your entire body. The great I am does reside within you always, but sometimes we forget. So I'm going to invite you to place your fingers over your heart space. Feel that physical body and feel the great I am inside. And from the inside, feel God touching your fingers right through your heart space. Opening your heart space wide. Make that decision to open this love space wide. And you can drop your hands. Feel that energy moving through you. And then place your hands on top of your head. Feel that crown chakra. Feel the great I am reaching through your crown chakra and touching your fingers. Opening this great portal to all the energy around us. And you can drop your hands. And allow that God energy to pour in through your empty body space, circulating, clearing up any old beliefs or thoughts that have been hindering you, any thoughts of limitation in your healing. Let all those stuck energies be whisked out through your crown chakra and out your heart chakra. Allow this energy to be replaced with the unlimited power of the I am. And as we sit in this circulation, this knowing that we have made the decision to be loving, the decision to be whole, the decision to remember that we are multi-dimensional beings, that God is in us, as us, and through us always, no matter the circumstances. And we allow this energy to sit and become comfortable in our physical body. And we give thanks for this beautiful energy ever present in our lives. Amen. And when you're ready, just Open your beautiful eyes and take a deep breath in and feel if anything got shook up and tossed out or new ideas planted. So my talk today is, wait, why am I here? Oh, tell me about the next slide, Eileen. Oh, let's do the monthly theme and affirmation. Isn't this perfect? So the theme for July, freedom, that was easy, right? In my Christ self, I have freedom and dominion. What did we just do? We remembered that our Christ self is always here, right? Always here. I'm always on about that. Okay. So have you ever wondered why you're here? Yeah, every time something happens in my life that shifts things, I'm like, well, what am I doing here? What's my purpose now? My kids are grown. I'm tired of making dinner. I don't want to clean the house. What am I supposed to be doing? So I keep questioning. But lucky for us, we're in unity, and unity helps us to think about our purpose. And the one thing about unity is we don't believe that God has a plan for you. That is, this is going to happen in your life. In unity, we think in terms of divine will, divine plan, and divine guidance. And I know you from Meta 1 remembers this chapter because we just went through this. So divine will is that each person reveals and expresses our Christ nature. Ta-da! That's your purpose in life. Express the Christ nature. Super generic, right? Not terribly helpful, but that is, it's not, but that is God's will for us to express our divine nature. So we go forth on this planet and do our best. Now, the divine plan is how each person decides to go about living and expressing our Christ nature. Our individualized consciousness determines the direction we take to express the Christ in our own unique expression, because we're all unique expressions of God, right? And divine guidance is the supportive flow from divine mind. And we have a power of wisdom, and that's how we take in the divine guidance that we are given to discern what we're supposed to do next, right? So they give us this sentence: from our awareness of oneness through and from divine guidance of the higher self, we give shape and form to a divine plan out of the awareness of divine will. Super clear, right? Super helpful. This is the part when we're in the book of metaphysics and everybody goes, what? What are you talking about? How does this help me make dinner, not kill the kids when they're being rotten? What's going on here? But bear with me. I'll help you. We'll get through this. So we don't come into this world completely naked of how we're going to express divine will. We all come in with the 12 powers, and they're resident in our being. They're not expressed, they're not developed, but we all have them. And we will come in with the same powers, but not everyone is going to express them the same way because we're all unique, right? So think of it like going into an ice cream store, and everybody gets a bowl of vanilla ice cream. And then there's 12 toppings, and you get to go pick and choose how much of each topping you want, and you can throw it on, and each thing gives you a unique flavor, and each combination is giving you a more in-depth flavor profile. That's kind of how the 12 powers work and how we each develop them. So each person is choosing the ingredients and the proportions to create their own unique blend. So how do we translate this unique flavor profile into knowing ourselves deeply and checking in on just how we're doing expressing our Christ nature? So we know divine will, we're to express our Christ nature in our lives, and we know we have the 12 powers. But where do we get this divine plan? I didn't get a script when I was born, unless you stole it. I don't know. So what if we write our own divine plan? What if we created our own life story before we ever got here? I mean, it's a thought. We planned our adventures here with an eye to developing our 12 powers so we could express divine will. So I'm currently in the Advanced Metaphysics program at Unity Urban Ministerial School, and I got introduced to this book. It is called The Divine Design by Reverend Carol Lundy, and it's so interesting and so much fun, and she dives into this very topic. So the book goes through the process of first writing down all the events in your life. Just you write them all down in chronological order. And we write down specific events and memories, and then we step back and we look at everything from a metaphysical view, a higher perspective. And then when we've done that, we go back and we write our own creation story, starting with once upon a time, because it's supposed to be light. And we use our power of imagination when we tell our cosmic life story, because our story is bigger than this 3D world. We are not just 3D beings. We are multi-dimensional beings. So I wrote down the significant events in my life, and I wrote them down. No judgment. This is the hard part. No judgment and no emotions attached. And no allowing comments from ego mind to butt in and say, oh, there was a terrible person, I hated him. No, you're just writing down events. We leave limited ego mind behind, and we just take time and we really think about it. And it's helpful to sit in meditation and say, what is it that I need to remember? What will help me fulfill my life purpose? What do I need to remember? I did that. And I had some memories pop in from high school. It's like, oh, I haven't thought of these in a long time. So we look at our life events from a very high level, no judging, no blaming. If something horrible happened and people did awful things, we keep the view of if they had known better, they would have done better. And then we remind ourselves, despite what I previously believed about this event, the universe always has my back. That's a very different perspective to look back on your life. So we're looking at these events through our God self eyes, and we're cheering on our little human self. Yes, you can do it. Go through this 3D world. You've got this. And then we step back and we look for themes that helped us develop our 12 powers, that allowed us to become aware of the divine guidance that is always present. It's always present. We're just not necessarily aware. So from this higher view, where can I see divine guidance? Was it available? Yeah, it was always available. Did I heed the divine guidance? Sometimes. Did I expand my awareness of God's presence in my life? Did I ignore the guidance and regret it? Did I finally get the message on repeating cycles in my life, and I didn't have to get that lesson over and over again? Where were the turning points in my life that led me to a greater relationship with God? So we're used to metaphysically interpreting Bible stories, but our own lives, not so much. But we're going to do that. So why would we do this practice? So Reverend Lundy says it's important to study metaphysical interpretation and embody spiritual laws in order to live metaphysics. Did you ever think of that? Living metaphysics? And interpret and apply spiritual responses to our own life experiences. Why should the Bible figures get all the fun? You know, we get to interpret our own life. Without this ability, we remain earthbound in the physical or ego mind and interpret our experiences according to the limitations of outer events. I don't want to be limited anymore. How about you? Okay, so she goes on to say that metaphysics is more than an intellectual exercise or a philosophy. It is a way of life to be lived consciously as a co-creator with God. Metaphysical living is a clear focus on the spiritual. It enhances our ability to live as spiritual beings in a spiritual universe of thought and apply it to every action. I will admit, I do not apply it when I go to the grocery store. I just go to the grocery store. So I started writing down everything I could remember, and here's what I found so far. So my first decade was all about creating a loving foundation. I was number 6 in our wonderful family, and my very first memory is being in a room and everyone loving me. What a great foundation. Now, we also moved a lot when we were little, and so the power of elimination is strong in this one. And I do not make great attachments, but that was something I learned by looking back at my first decade. Second decade was all about remembering oneness and receiving and following divine guidance. I had a near-death experience. I saw things that most people don't see. Angels, dead people. You know, it was, and I had some profound psychic experiences that were very terrifying. So, and then 2 memories that popped up that I got from asking, what do I need to know now? And it was that 2 older women at different times told me that one day I would be doing what they do, teaching and talking about metaphysics and passing on messages from the other side. Now, can you imagine being a 16-year-old sitting in an audience and twice you get that message? Like, no, these people are crazy. So decade number 3 was all about judgment and order. How do I fit into this world and not be of it, but still appear normal and make a living? How do I do that? And I had a huge reminder that I was on my path the day I met my husband, and I was given a download, and it was the next 40 years of our life together. I went, yes, I'm on the right path. I got the right guy. Yeah. No leaving me, man. So decade number 4 was all about life and zeal and strength and very clear divine guidance. And I needed a healthy dose of all 4 because we were raising our 4 wonderful kids. And it was crazy. And it was fun. And we got a lot of divine guidance on that. And they all turned out great. Just ask me. I'll tell you. So my 5th decade was really my hero's journey in earnest. And I leaned heavily on faith and power and understanding and elimination. And I was introduced to unity principles, and I loved it. It made sense. And I let go of many of my former beliefs. And I began studying in earnest, and I got on the LUT path to fulfill what those 2 women had said so many years before. And decade number 6 is all about combining the powers of faith and wisdom and imagination and understanding and will to heal my body and to fully step into my personal divine plan. And that is to be the firm foundation of love and understanding so that others can also step fully into their divine plan. So after writing down all of these events and looking from a metaphysical eye, we get to write the fun part, okay? We get to write our cosmic life story and remembering that it is our story and ours alone. And you can't get it wrong. And you get to be wild with your imagination. You get to make up whatever you want. Like we can all put SMU after our name. MSU, make stuff up. This is what we can do. Make stuff up. You get to tell your own epic tale. And we use the power of imagination. Remembering that we are multi-dimensional beings. We are visible and invisible. And we have visible and invisible help. So we're not creating our story from this 3D reality. This is too limited. And it's kind of crazy down here sometimes, right? The Course in Miracles says the world was created by an insane mind. Yeah, ego mind, right? Not the Christ mind. So we all remember the creative process. Yes, I know you do. Yes, mind, idea, expression. We are the ones who manifest in this realm. And we are the ones who can also misinterpret divine ideas and manifest the craziness, right? We're not manifesting from Christ's mind. So that's why when we have this misinterpretation, we don't want to make sense of the what that happened. We want to make sense of how did I respond to the what that happened in my life? What did I learn? How did that particular what shape the use of the 12 powers? How did it lead me closer to God? Because our reactions to circumstances is what creates our reality here. And we all know this. Unity principle number 3, right? I create my experiences by how I choose to think, feel, and believe. So this is not a one-time process. If you're still breathing, it's an ongoing process because life hasn't stopped. And we are invited to metaphysically interpret every moment. So now we get to make it fun and purposeful and dynamic and lead us to our divine plan. So do you want to hear the start of my story? Okay. Once upon a time, God said, hey, let's have an adventure. And I said, oh, pick me. Please pick me. I want to go. I want to have an adventure. Can I go out to the edge of the universe and be a gas nebula, please? And God said, well, as much fun as that sounds, no, how about you get to remember and live in and as your memories of me, and eventually share your memories of me with those who have forgotten. And then you get to help them remember. And I said, wait, what? I don't understand. remember my memories with you? You're right here. Time is now. What am I didn't forget anything. God said, oh, not here. You're going to travel to a dimension that when you enter, eventually you're going to forget all about me. It wipes out everybody's memory of me, of you as me, of all the help as me, everywhere present, all the time. No angels, no guides, all gone. But you will remember just a little in the beginning and a lot more eventually. And you will be the one to remind people quietly, one-on-one first, and eventually you will share with more people as you become more confident in your faith and your love grows. And you will remind them that I am always there as them, with them, for them. And I said, if everyone forgets, how am I going to remember? And God smiled and said, well, the forgetting really doesn't kick in till you hit school. But I have wonderful parents lined up for you. And they will know that when you remember and you speak of me, they will support you. For it rings a bell of truth so deep in their soul that they can't help it. And they are very wise, and they will heed the call. And I'm not going to lie, a few things will happen to you. And at the time, they will be very frightening. And some will be overwhelmingly sad. But they will eventually affirm that, yes, you remember me well, and it will shape the rest of your life. Even when you don't realize it, it will keep you on the path that you and I have chosen. Am I going by myself? This sounds really scary, and I'm not sure if I don't fully remember who and what I am, that I want to go do this by myself. And God smiled and said, oh, you've already chosen your support. They will be with you as long as you need them and as long as they need you. And I will send you signs to remind you of your path that you have chosen, and I will always, always love you. For that is always, always who we are. And I just want to end today's talk with a passage from this book. God shows us that we are in motion through the ability to look back over the history of mankind and the evolution of the species and even our own yesterdays. Where was your life 5, 10, 20 years ago? Have you moved in your thinking? Have you grown up? Become wiser? Do you even resemble who you were back then? We are shown the past, not to dwell upon it or make it our future, but to perceive the movement and growth. How else can we measure our progress? And to aid in our growth, we ask to have our perceptions cleared and expanded. Ask to see more advanced design for being. Ask to see the next dimension that Jesus spoke about when people asked where he was going. Always ask to see the next step and the next. Don't be bashful or think you're arrogant for wanting to know. God's business is your business. As the 12-year-old Jesus said to his parents, "Did you not know I was about my Father's business?" So we are invited to partake in as much of God's business as we can handle. So I invite you to start your own once upon a time. Thank you.
Calling you Reverend Cathy.
No.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, as the ushers come forward, let us move into our time of offering by saying together our offertory blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, that this is so.